Hey, this is Pastor Bunjee Garrett, and I want to take this opportunity to present you with another word of encouragement. Well, without debate, we are living in one of the most amazing times in all of human history. The reason I say this? Well, it's because everything appears to be lining up according to the end time prophecies that we find all throughout the Bible. This, of course, includes the relationship that Russia has been developing with Iran, which was actually revealed in Ezekiel chapter 38, where we learn that Russia and Iran will form a military confederacy, before launching a full-scale invasion of Israel. And just like the prophet Ezekiel foretold so many years ago, the leaders of Russia and Iran are currently forging ties that, according to some, are tighter than ever before. As a matter of fact, Russia and Iran have signed several agreements which include trade, oil, gas, and military cooperation. For example, it was just last May when they agreed on the importance of connecting their electronic payment systems as well as their financial messaging systems. And ever since then, Russia and Iran have gradually begun trading their national currencies. And then more recently, Russia has been looking to Iran for help in their invasion of Ukraine. It's now evident that Iran is actively helping Russia with its war efforts as this new Russian-Iranian military alliance continues to develop even stronger ties. And you better believe it's only a matter of time until Ezekiel chapter 38 is fulfilled as Russia and Iran invade Israel. Meanwhile, the dry bones prophecy, which is found in Ezekiel chapter 37, this also continues to be fulfilled. As a matter of fact, there's currently a 95% increase in the total number of Jews ascending to the Temple Mount over this past year when compared to the total number from last year. And as we're just now a week away from the Jewish New Year, they're actually expecting to cross the threshold of 50,000 people who have ascended to the Temple Mount during this past year alone. And without debate, the prophecy in Ezekiel chapter 37 about the dry bones coming back to life, this prophecy is clearly fulfilled. At the same time, we must not fail to notice that the death of Queen Elizabeth has given rise to King Charles III. And with that being the case, it's important to remember that King Charles III is the WEF leader who initially launched the Great Reset back in June of 2020. And here's how he put it back then, and I quote, "We have a golden opportunity to seize something good from this crisis. Its unprecedented shockwaves may well make people more receptive to big visions of change." In other words, Prince Charles was then informing his audience that he was planning on using the pandemic as a way to convince people to embrace his big vision of change. And now that that he's king, well, you better believe that he's going to be using his power to bring about these big changes. And just for the sake of clarity, it'll help you to remember that the Great Reset that Prince Charles was talking about, well, it includes a complete revamping of our societies, our economies, from education to social contracts, as well as working conditions. Klaus Schwab even went on to explain this Great Reset as a Great Reset of capitalism, which is going to impact every industry from oil and gas to technology. And what this means then is that these globalists, they're gearing up to revamp our social contracts as they enforce their new draconian rules. And if you think that this is just, hyperbole, well, then I'll direct your attention to the statement that Prince Charles made during the COP26 Climate Summit in Glasgow just last year. And that's when he said this, and I quote him here, "We need a vast military-style campaign to marshal the strength of the global private sector with trillions at his disposal, far beyond global GDP, and with the greatest respect beyond even the governments of the world's leaders. It offers the only real prospect of achieving fundamental economic transition." Yeah, that's right. The new king of the UK has already informed the world that the Great Reset will include a vast military-style campaign which will be used by some individual who will have trillions at his disposal to marshal or forcefully lead the global private sector to revamp the social contract of societies and economies. Wow, I wonder who the he is. I wonder who he's talking about. Who is this person who will marshal in, this new world order, so to speak? Listen, this is the same plan that Biden has been implementing here in the U.S. And so we might ask, well, how's it going so far? It's not going good. It's sad that homeless encampments are increasing across the U.S. as more and more people are evicted because they can't afford their rent. And according to the data from a very recent poll, 63% of surveyed voters say their income is falling behind the cost of living. And as we consider how the Great Reset is literally destroying our economy, I can't help but to remember the prophecy that we find in Revelation chapter 6, where we learn that the days are coming when a quart of wheat will cost a day's wage and 3 quarts of barley will also cost the same. And without debate, we are currently on track to end up with these high costs of living. And it's sad that the Biden regime continues to downplay the economic crisis happening here in our country. And not only that, but they're also working to create a national digital currency for the United States. That's right. Mr. Build Back Better is working with his administration as they prepare to create the United States Central Bank digital currency, which will be a digital form of the US dollar. No joke. Come on, man. Now, with this in mind, I can't help but to wonder how this is going to pave the way for a global digital currency, which will then be regulated by the global government of the Antichrist, who will then force every person to embrace this new social contract as they receive his implant in order to use this digital currency. And if you're thinking that could never happen here in America, then you ought to know that Biden recently signed an executive order that advances biotechnology and biomanufacturing innovation, for sustainable, safe, and secure American bioeconomy. That's right. He's gearing up for a bioeconomy, and it's in this executive order where we learn that Biden is now directing multiple federal agencies to work with the private sector to develop genetic engineering technologies to, and I quote here, write circuitry for cells and to predictably program biology. That's right. Biden signed this executive order, which also includes this stated goal, and I quote here, to unlock the power of biological data, including through computing tools and artificial intelligence, and advance the science of scale-up production while reducing the obstacles for commercialization so that innovative technologies and products can reach markets faster. Okay. So now this could go in a number of directions, and I could spend some time here focusing on the benefits of this research because there are many benefits. And yet every student of the Bible already knows how this is going to end. It's going to end with implanted biochips that are forced upon those who want to take part in the global economy as this world ruler enforces these new social contracts. And as I said before, these are exciting times. These are exciting times because we are currently watching the Lord putting all of the chess pieces in place for 3 specific events that have yet to come. This includes the rapture of the church, the rise of the Antichrist, and the return of Jesus Christ. And with all of this being the case, it's time for Christians to wake up and rise to the occasion as we realize that the time is short. I like the way that Paul put it in Ephesians chapter 5. There he declares, "See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Therefore, do not be unwise, but understand what the will of the Lord is." Listen, rather than walking according to the foolishness of this world or according to the sinful lusts of this world, we ought to instead become those wise believers who are redeeming the time that we have so that we can spend the time that we have left accomplishing the will of the Lord Jesus here in these last days. And with this as the goal, I encourage every Christian, let's become those believers who are fighting the good fight of faith and all for the glory of God.